Hey, welcome to On the Up and Up with Patrick and
Talisha. So, last week you all got to hear a little bit about me so that you can get to know me a little better. And this week you get to hear about my wonderful husband, Patrick.
thank you for having me, ma'am. I am excited to be here today.
Oh, thank you, sir, for being here. You are definitely my favorite guest of all time. So, let's get started. What was your first impression of me?
Ooh, that's a juicy question. All right. Okay, so take us back to June of 2002. We were doing this summer enrichment program. And we were the smart kids looking at college. I was the oldest in the group, and I felt that I shouldn't have been there. I was 16 years old, and it was a bunch of punk, snot-nosed middle schoolers coming into high school. They didn't know what high school was all about. So I'm like, man, let me show these kids a thing or two. So I walk into the building, and then boom, I see the most beautiful thing in the world. It was like the heavens and the skies just split apart, and like the sun came glowing down, and there was like this angel there before me. And my thoughts were, oh, she's way out of my league. There's no way in the world she would be interested in a guy like me. But first impression was like, she's beautiful. So I only went on physicality. I didn't know what you were really about. And you had nice straight teeth with the braces and everything. And you had nice legs and the skirt. It was beautiful. But like I said, I immediately thought way out of my league. So I tried to get and have a relationship with someone that I thought that I had a better chance with. But it turned out to be the best thing. But yeah, first impression, I was like, this girl is absolutely gorgeous, but out of my league. So I was a little scared.
Wow, I didn't know that. You are too kind, Mr. Ratliff. So, what are your relationship strengths?
What are my relationship strengths? That's a good question. So what I bring to a relationship, what I think I bring to a relationship, I think that I bring perspective. I bring views. Like I'm always reading books. I have a lot of knowledge, not necessarily book smart, because school just did not work for me all the time. But as far as like taking what I've learned and applying it to my life, I'm really good at that. And just what works in our relationship, you're very book smart, and you're a pharmacist, so you know everything there is to know about pharmacy, and you stick to pharmacy. You know everything that's relevant that works in your life. I have a lot of knowledge that isn't necessarily relative to my job or anything else that I do. But as you see, when we play Jeopardy, I know all these random facts and just things like, why would you even know that? You don't believe in knowing that kind of stuff because it's not going to be relevant to your profession. I have all these random thoughts and knowledge in my head, and I share them with you. And sometimes you're fascinated. Sometimes you're like, I'm never going to use that again. And that's just absolutely plain stupid. But I've been exposed growing up. I was exposed to a lot of things as a kid, a lot of diversity. And my strength that I bring is bringing that to you and kind of like putting that into your life, exposing you and just like sharing this knowledge. Like, hey, this is out there. Hey, this is that. And technology as well. I bring technology like social media platforms like Twitter and Instagram to you, and just a lot of, I guess, I don't want to say abstract knowledge, but just a lot of things. Like I bring sports, wrestling, all kinds of things. I have a lot of interest, like CrossFit, like stuff that maybe you wouldn't normally be interested in. But I think that my strength is like, hey, we don't know this thing. All right, I'll go read about it and let's come back. And this is what I learned. This is how we can apply it to this situation. And let's grow from there. I think that's my strength is exposure and just bringing knowledge and growth to our relationship.
100%. I agree with that. So I'm interested in this answer. What person outside of our relationship do you admire the most, and why?
All right. So the person that I like admire the most out of a relationship, there's this guy. He's a preacher. His name is Zach Brewster. So Zach, I met him when we were speaking at an event called Disrupt HR. It was like 10, 15 speakers, and we all had like 5 minutes to go up there and present our idea that was going to disrupt the human resources profession. And I was up there talking about energy. I did an okay job. I was very nervous. I was just very scared, and I was so nervous public speaking. That was like my first public speaking event, and in front of like a big audience. And Zach was the last guy to go. And I was like, who is this dude? Like, what does he have to say? And when he went up there and said what he had to say, I was just in awe of how good of a public speaker he was. And so I immediately had to go up and meet this guy and ask him, like, what's he all about? And like, who is this guy? What does he do? And I found out that he was actually a pastor. And when you're a pastor, you have to speak like at least like twice a week. So he got really good at his craft of speaking. And so I got to know him, and I just found out like he was a really good guy. So when I got my first ever corporate speaking gig, it was because of Zach Brewster. So not only is he great at what he does, he believes in giving back to people who are trying to come up. And that's what I really admire. That's what I really admire about him. And, and people who have successful lives and they're really faithful. I find that really interesting because, like I said, I'm trying to have Christ more in my life, and I'm really looking for great examples of people who are living with Christ inside of them and how they're like working God's plan that he has for them. And I want that. And that's what I really admire about it, because I don't envy the job that preachers actually do, because it's a tough profession to be a preacher, but he still finds time to help other people. And I don't talk to him all the time, but it's like when I do talk to him, he's one of those guys who make you feel like, oh, you're the only person in the world right now, or you're the most important person in the world right now. And I really admire and respect that. And I kind of want to be that person. So yeah, it would be Zach Brewster as a person that I admire outside of our relationship.
Wow. That's really cool. I would like to meet with Zach as well. So Patrick, what is your ideal conflict resolution style?
The ideal conflict resolution style for me is to not talk about it.
Yes.
I'd love to just let it sit there, don't discuss it, and hopefully and pray that it will blow away and it'll never come up again. Mm-hmm. Ideally. But that's not practical, nor will that ever work. So luckily, I have you who won't let things slide. You call me out on my BS all the time, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to stay up all night and talk about it until you get deep down into your feelings, till you're crying on the ground and you confess to what is really bothering you. I'm like, man, I'm really sleepy. Can we not discuss this? Can I have some time to be alone, to blow off some steam? No, we have to talk about this now. But ideally, yes, I would like to bottle it up and until it explodes, ideally. But I know that I have to grow and be better at that.
All right. So Patrick, you were really surprised with my answer to this question. So if you could take a class on any subject in the world, what would it be?
I'd take a class on public speaking, because the world has always been moved by great speakers. You got Jesus, you have Martin Luther King, the I Have a Dream speech. Like everyone who has influence, they have to have that speech. Like Abraham Lincoln, the Gettysburg Address. Like how Franklin Roosevelt, when you're going into World War II, Winston Churchill. Like when the stakes are at the highest, you have to rally your troops and deliver that powerful speech. Football coaches, each and every Saturday or Sunday or Friday night for high school, they have to deliver that speech, and they're nervous about it. They don't know how it's going to go over with the audience. But if I could take a class on how to move people and how to engage with an audience and how to like just kind of help them shift their perspective or offer a new perspective and inspire them to take action to make themselves better, I want that gift. I'm okay at it. I'm not great at it. So if I could take a class on how to like do that without having to practice it every single time and sit down and write a speech where it just came off naturally, that would be the perfect class for me.
Really? See, you're a great speaker in my book. And I think Toastmasters would probably disagree with you on that as well. So I think that's really interesting that you'd like to take a class on public speaking. You're A1 in my book.
Oh, thank you, baby. You're a great cheerleader. I appreciate you.
Yep. So, Patrick, what are your beliefs about the meaning of life? Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh. The meaning of life? All right. So, the meaning of life, I believe that the meaning of life is teamwork. That's what I do. I do teamwork. Like I said, we wouldn't be on this earth at all if we weren't surrounded by other people. And the happiest people that I see, they all have great relationships. I've seen people with great careers, but if they don't have good relationships, then they're not fully fulfilled. Or if they're super healthy, but they don't have anybody to share it with, then they're not really fulfilled. Ultimately, I think that the meaning of life is to become the best person that you can possibly be, serve the world, and not try to do it alone. I think that's why marriage was created in the first place, so that you could have a partner to share your journey with. I believe that the meaning of life, you're supposed to be unselfish, which goes against our natural nature. Because naturally, we're taught to think, well, what's in it for me? But you really have to fight against that instinct to think about what's in it for you and think, well, how can I serve this person? Because that's what's ultimately making people happy. When you give and don't expect anything in return, that makes you feel really good. So I think the meaning of life is just to share your life and help the other person beside you, help the people around you, help make the place better, or the world a better place than it was when you found it.
All right. So, Patrick, what would be your number one draft pick when it comes to quality of being a team player?
So you mean like a person? Like who would I take?
It doesn't matter. Do you want to be a person? Do you want to be a quality? It's up to you.
The greatest team player that I know is LeBron James, because he's just so unselfish, and what he does, he could go out there and score all the points in the world. But guess what? He doesn't. He makes everyone around him better. He sacrifices his individuality for the betterment of the team. So I think that he is the ultimate team player. That's the guy that I would choose, because he's the most physically gifted. He's the most intelligent as far as basketball IQ, but he has averages like double-digit assists and stuff like that. So I really admire his team ability and how he puts the team first ahead of themselves, because he's been the best forever, but he brings others along with them. He helps their career. He elevates them with his gift, because it would be selfish if he just went out and tried to score all the points for himself, which he could if he did, but that's not what's best for the team. And I'm just so impressed with like his basketball IQ and just how he elevates the people on his team. Like, he makes it fun to play with, and people want to win for him.
Mm-hmm. Well, hashtag all hail King James. So, Patrick, since we're talking about LeBron James, what would you say is your favorite sport?
My favorite sport?
Mm-hmm.
I like football. I grew up playing football. I love every football movie that's out there. Remember the Titans is my favorite one. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of football. Like, on Saturdays, I love college football. Sundays, I love NFL football. If I could do one thing or watch one thing, it'd be football plus mixed martial arts. Absolutely love mixed martial arts. I've been watching mixed martial arts since 2005 when they had the Ultimate Fighter. I loved it. I tried it out for a little bit. Then I got punched in the face, and I realized that I'm not tough enough to do this sport, but that gave me a huge appreciation for the sport, which you actually go out there and try to do it. I'm not some of these keyboard warriors out there and say, oh, you can't freaking fight. No, I respect it. So if you have the courage to get out there in a cage to fight another man, all the respect in the world for you.
Yeah, he totally did it himself. Got a little infection and everything, a little bacterial growth, but that did not stop him.
Oh, thank you, sweetie, for sharing that with the world.
Yeah, no problem. So, Patrick, what are you the most proud of?
I am the most proud of my family. Like I said, first impression of you was I could never in a million years get this girl. And that might be misogynistic or patriarchal or whatever it is that they're saying out there. But my goal was to not conquer, but I had to get you. I had to get you. Like, I had to get you. I had to recruit you to my team, my family, and we can build something great together. And it worked. It absolutely worked. So I am most proud of it because I had to overcome a lot of odds. And the most important thing and the most important lesson that you taught me was to be myself, because this is embarrassing, but when I tried to court you, I tried to act like I was someone who I wasn't. And you were like, nope, don't like this fake person. But when I exposed who the real me was, you're like, well, that's the person I really like. And then that's how we got together, by me being authentic and being honest, and you helping me realize that I am good enough. I don't have to boast my stats or try to come off as something that I'm not. Just me being Patrick is good enough. And that's what I'm most proud of. Marrying you, building a family with you, and growing together with you. Because like I said, first impression, I didn't think it was possible. I thought you were way too beautiful and out of my league. But
so I think that is so sweet that we have the most proudest accomplishments in common. Which brings me to the next question of, in what ways do you think that you've grown since the beginning of our relationship?
I have learned to become less selfish. As a child, I'm the baby in my family, so never had to share anything. Always had everything on my own. Got everything. My parents did everything for me, so I guess I was a little spoiled because I was the prince of the family. Could get away with a lot of things. So I thought everything was about me. Like, how can you make me happy, or how can you fulfill me? But just being with you has helped me grow that and basically learn that as I have to be the leader of my family, and I have to help you grow. And if I'm always focused on, well, what about me? How's this going to make me look? Then I can't do what's best for my family. I can't grow into the person I need to be to take our family where we want to go. So you have to drop that ego. It's like you have to lose yourself to find yourself ultimately. And in our relationship, it's just, you challenge me. You hold me accountable. You call me out when I'm, like I say, I want to hide my feelings, that I don't want to be up front, and I just want to hold things on, because sometimes when people do get angry, they feel that as a sense of power, like, oh, I'm angry, I'm mad at you, I want to make you feel bad. But by letting that ego go, you get to see more opportunities. So just by giving up my selfishness or becoming less selfish, I'm able to have a broader perspective and just see more opportunities and more solutions, as opposed to always focusing on the problems. And that's just how our relationship has helped me grow. Because like I said, I want to keep growing, and I don't ever want to get to that point where I feel like I'm stuck.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. You know, I really love you.
I love you too, sweetie.
All right, so let's get a little bit light. So what would you say, and you're only allowed to give one because you did not like when I gave more than one.
Yeah, about 10.
What is your favorite movie? One, and why?
One favorite movie. it would be Troy.
Of course.
I love Troy. 2004, Troy, Brad Pitt. It was one of the greatest movies of all time. I'm a huge fan of like the old war drama. I don't like all the guns and stuff, but I do like the sword and shield. I believe by living and dying by the sword and the shield and being a man of honor. And that's what Achilles was. He was there to fight the Trojans and be remembered for thousands of years. And that's what he did. And Brad Pitt was a fantastic actor. Couldn't have cast that role any better. And I will watch that movie every time that it's on. I don't care if it's
every time.
I don't care if it is 3 hours long. I'm sitting there and I'm watching Troy and I'm stopping what I'm doing because I have to see Achilles take that beach every single time and take on the beach of Troy with 50 men and his myrmidons and deliver that speech about finding immortality. Take it. It's yours. And having your name remembered in history.
So what y'all don't know about Patrick is anytime Patrick watches a show or a movie, he takes on that persona. Did y'all catch the voice change? Yeah, whether it's Sopranos or Troy or anything, he is that person.
That's not true.
Very true. 100% accurate. All right, Mr. Ratliff, what song describes you the best in our current relationship?
What song describes us the best? Well, it is the number one song in the world right now. And it is Baby Shark, Baby Shark, Baby Shark, Baby Shark. Because that's what plays in my head. Our current relationship. We got the mommy shark. We got the baby sharks. We got the daddy sharks. We got the grandma sharks. We got the grandpa sharks. That's our whole family right now. So that song describes our current relationship. And our son plays it all the time. He loves Baby Shark. And that's what you have to listen to. So if I was going to say any song that was going to describe our current relationship, it is that Baby Shark, buddy. And all the versions that they have on
Ping Pong.
Pink Fong. Yeah, Pink Fong runs our house. And yeah, if that song was going to describe our current relationship, it's definitely all the sharks and all the families and doing the chomping motions with your hands.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, that's our
Absolutely. Current song. All right. So what are your relationship deal breakers?
My relationship deal breakers is definitely infidelity because I just can't. That's just so embarrassing, man. I can't be out there in the streets knowing that, hey, your wife cheated on you and you're a loser. But that doesn't necessarily, I mean, it's just embarrassing, man. I'd rather you just go leave me instead of cheat on me because of the shame and embarrassment that it comes with. And I just have to leave. But I did make this deal with myself that was like, hey, if they're stupid enough to cheat on me, they're not smart enough to be with me. And I prioritize intelligence over pretty much every quality that I have in you. So you better be smart, and that would be a dumb decision. So then you wouldn't. Then I just wouldn't. Well, she's not smart anyway, so that would be a deal breaker for me. Also, murder. Okay. If you're going out here killing people, that's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
Because one, you're going to go to jail, so I can't see you on a regular basis. So that's going to create that separation apart because you're going to jail. And I don't want to go visit you in jail with the kids and everything. It's like, hey, let's go see Killer Mommy. That would be a deal breaker. I'd have to go into another direction with that.
But if you were my spouse and I were a murderer, which I'm not, then you would not be able to testify against me.
You're still going to jail.
You should have my back.
No. I said deal breaker. Deal breaker. Oh, you killed somebody. If it's not in self-defense, if you're going out here just chopping heads off and stuff.
Becoming the female Dexter.
Yeah, the female Dexter is a deal breaker, man.
True.
I can't live with that. So yeah, murder and infidelity. Those are deal breakers. I could work with everything else, hopefully. Stealing, I might be able to get over that. Hey, my partner steals. It depends on what you're stealing, but if you're stealing stuff for the good of the family, I might let that slide. It might not necessarily be a deal breaker, all right? little wishy-washy that way. But yeah, murder and infidelity, I'd have to say those are some two deal breakers for me. Or not like liking what I like, or like the football and the Game of Thrones and all the nerdy stuff that I like. That might be a deal breaker because that might give us trouble in connecting. What I love about you is like you'll sit down and watch absolutely anything that I'm watching, regardless if I'm in the last season or the first season, and you'll absolutely take over that show. And then once you start watching it, I'm no longer allowed to watch it without you. So
Exactly.
you take over the shows, but that's what I really like about you because it creates more conversation. Like you're so flexible in what you like that you'll come into my world and you'll want to be a part of my world just so that you can be with me. I think that's beautiful about you. So, but if you weren't like that, I don't know how it could work. Like we have absolutely nothing in common. We can't talk about anything because those things will interest me. And I try to do the same for you as well.
Oh yeah, you do. And he does a great job at not practicing infidelity when it comes to the shows that I leech onto. He saves them for me so that he calls me the show killer. But infidelity and murder wrapped in a show, but not the same as real life.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now that the deal breakers are out of the way, what thing would you say has happened in your life that has had the greatest impact on our relationship?
That would be going to coaching school together. So I had this realization in 2016 that I wanted to be a life coach because I wanted to learn more about life and what made people happy, successful, and fulfilled. I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. And there's a deeper story behind this, but we'll go into that at a later date because we could talk about that forever. But the reason I wanted to go to life coaching school because I wanted to help other people live the best life that they could live. And the school that I enrolled in, it gave us an opportunity to bring along our guest. And who else am I going to bring for this intensive 30-hour weekend of learning about coaching? So I brought Talisha with me, and it was pretty much one of the most powerful transformational weekends that we had. And it just, like I said, it really gave me perspective on life. It helped me become more aware of situations that were blocking me. It helped me become more conscious of decisions that I'm making and not just making them automatically. It helped challenge some of the beliefs that I had that weren't serving me as a person, and just really learning that as a belief, you're in control of your beliefs, or you're in control of the choices that you make, or you're in control of your feelings and emotions. And I didn't realize that until I went to school. And when Talisha came with me, she learned those same lessons, and she was only supposed to be there for the weekend. But then she was like, this is too good. I want to be a coach too. And so we ended up finishing the program together and both becoming professionally certified coaches. And like I said, for our relationship, for our discussions or verbal spars, we really understand that change comes from the inside out. You can try to change the things outside of you, but those won't be sustainable. It really has to come from the inside. And we work together as a team to get behind what's really affecting our actions. So we get to the core of our decisions and we break it down and we make sure that we understand each other 100%. And we have been growing ever since. So that's been that coaching school, going to coaching school together has had the greatest positive impact on our relationship.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So whenever you speak about that, what do you wish that I more thoroughly understood about you?
I wish that you would thoroughly understand about me is that I don't like to do no kind of task. I don't like chores. I'm a people person. I believe in getting work done through the people. You want me to do
You
a bunch.
are one of the people.
Yeah, I am one of the people, but I don't want to be one of the people. I'd rather instruct somebody else to go do that, get that work done. When you have a house full of children, there are a lot of tasks to be done, and Talisha is the taskmaster. And sometimes I just want to sit down and do nothing. For a lot of times, I want to sit down and do nothing, but not gonna happen on her watch. If she's doing something and she sees me sitting down enjoying my life, she ain't happy.
Nope.
And I have to get up and do something. But I really wish that you more thoroughly understood that I don't feel like doing anything.
Got it.
And
Nothing.
And another thing I wish you more thoroughly understood about me is that when I say I'm ready, I'm ready. And you should be ready to go out the door as well. But we'll get into that in our pet peeve episode. That's going to be a fun one to talk about. But yeah, I just wish that you understood that.
When I'm ready. Yeah.
I just wish that you understood that I don't really feel like doing a bunch of chores.
Okay. The taskmaster has noted your feelings to be understood.
You ain't going to do a dang thing about it.
I'm not. I'm really not. So, Patrick, what makes you jealous in our relationship?
Oh my goodness. You on that phone. You on that phone.
Me?
Yeah, you on the phone with your mother and sister, and y'all sitting there just cackling and laughing it up all the time. Like a bunch of schoolgirls on the phone. Y'all like men in the barbershop just talking about, I don't know what y'all are talking about, but it's just, I guess it must be the most interesting thing in the world because y'all are just so animated about it.
Animated, he means loud.
and you do it like when you pull up at the driveway. I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's my time to talk to my wife. Nope, on that phone cackling. And sometimes y'all ain't even saying nothing. Y'all just be on the phone hearing each other breathe. Yeah. And I get jealous of it sometimes. I mean, I want her to talk to me sometimes. I get caught up in my feelings sometimes. Yeah, when you're on the phone all the time with your mom and your sister and y'all just sitting there talking it up and being all chatty and stuff. You know what? I want to be in the conversation too. I want some of that tea too. I guess that's what it is. I want to come into the conversation and I want to drink some of that tea that y'all are sipping on or spilling, whatever y'all are talking about. Maybe I feel like I'm being left out and I want to be the fourth person on the call.
All right, we're going to start adding you.
Please don't.
4-way.
No.
No more 3-ways. 4-way. We got you, Patrick. So, do you have any regrets? And if you do, what are they?
Okay, so my regret is the same regret as yours. And we'll talk about this down the road too in some future episodes. But my mom passed away in 2016. And my regret is that my sons will never get to meet my mother. So I kind of wish that I would have had children earlier. But with that being said, if I would have had children earlier, I probably wouldn't be in the position that I am in today. Because if I would have been at a younger age, I probably would have had to stay in corporate America a lot longer than I was in. So I regret my sons not getting to meet my mother, but her wish was just to be a grandmother. And she got to be a grandmother with my other nephew and my niece, with my sister's children. So she got to be a grandmother. She got her wish before she left this earth. Unfortunately, my sons won't get to meet her, but we'll do everything in our power to honor her memory and who she was as a person. But yeah, I would have wanted to have kids earlier, but we wouldn't have been ready. And that just would have who knows where I would be. And I know God does everything for a reason. So I wish I like to play that story back in my head sometimes and see what it would have been like. But at the same time, I'm happy where I am. I love my mom. I honor my mom and whatever she does. But yeah, probably that might be the biggest regret that I have.
Wow. That's a really interesting perspective on that. I never really thought about it that way. So I'm glad you shared that with us. All right. So, Patrick, where do you see our relationship going in the next 10 years?
I see amazing things happening in 10 years. So, number one, we're going to be student loan debt free. That's going to give us a whole bunch of freedom to do what we really want to do. I see our coaching practice blowing up. We're going to be serving thousands and thousands of couples and making their relationships thrive and be successful and fun and prosperous. We're going to have speaking events. We're going to have like workshops and like weekend retreats. I see us really working great together down the line in 10 years. I see our sons being good preteens. They're probably going to be on the point of rebellion. So we'll be very happy, but we'll probably be on the verge of losing our minds with two. Oh, we'll have a third kid too. We'll have a third child. So who knows? So they'll be about 9 years old as well. So yeah, we'll have our full family of 5. We'll have our Ratliff army. We'll be in a bigger house. We'll have like a dedicated studio and stuff. Our families, it's going to be great. What else do we got in 10 years? Let's see. That's it. Yeah. So I see in 10 years.
Okay. So let's take it to a different direction. What is your ideal date night?
My ideal date night? Let's see. I'll definitely traveling alone with you without the kids, going to a beach, going to a hotel, getting it off Priceline for that deal. And then like getting there and trying to like upgrade it to like a presidential suite so we get like a bigger bed and stuff for not that much of a price increase. Then find a restaurant in whatever city that we go to. Probably like a Fogo de Chao or a Chima's Brazilian steakhouse so you get the most bang for your buck and all you can eat red meat. Nice good lamb too. And then a nightcap. I like the nightcap. Really, really, really like the nightcap. And that's my ideal date with the nightcap in the hotel without any kids. That's what I love to do.
Okay. So, Patrick, do you consider yourself more of a truth person or a dare person?
I'm a truth person. 'Cause I'm like Tony Montana. You need people like me. I tell the truth. You need people like me. I tell the truth. I never lie. And when you never lie, you don't have to remember anything. So just please ask me to tell the truth. Because dare, the reason I don't pick dare is I don't know what you're going to ask me to do. And then you got to do it. Or you got to suffer the penalty for whatever that game is. So, yeah, just ask me the truth and I'll tell you the truth to the best of my abilities to what I know.
Okay. All right. And then lastly, what does your self-care routine look like?
So my self-care routine is CrossFit. I really like CrossFit, and I don't like the running in CrossFit, but I like to lift real heavy stuff because I've noticed when I don't let out that burst of energy, I'm a little uptight and a little less patient, a little more edgier and irritable if I don't like get that workout in. Because when you get that workout in, you're too tired to be mad. You're like, whatever you say, because I'm too tired to go back and forth with you. So it's really relaxing. So I have to have that part of my workout in. And you recognize the difference. You'd be like, did you work out or not? You need to let go of some of that energy that you have. Also, I love reading. I love reading books. I like having that knowledge. I like new perspectives. I love learning new things. And that's part of my self-care routine. I like online courses too. I'm a sort of a personal development junkie. I have a bunch of online courses. So I revisit those courses periodically. And I like listening to good music. I think music really moves the soul. It can get you in that peak performance state that you're in where you're like, okay, I'm about to take on this task. Let me listen to the right music to get me fired up so that I can focus on this task with the best and the best energy that I have to complete this task. So yeah, music, CrossFit, reading, and yeah, that's how I take care of myself.
All right, there you have it. That's Patrick Ratliff in a nutshell. Do you have anything else to add?
No, baby, you were a fantastic interviewer. I will interview with you any day, baby.
Thank you. So next week, we'll be talking about problems in your marriage and the common pitfalls like money, change, communication, family, and intimacy. Thank you for listening to On the Up and Up with Patrick and Talisha. For access to all of our episodes, please subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and wherever you listen to our show. Leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, and we will give you a shout out on our next episode. Stay connected with us on Twitter and Instagram at I am Pat Ratliff and at the Farm D Mommy. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you next week. God bless.